there's a message coming through about facing yourself. So I started recording this normally, and I was getting lost in the reading, and I was encouraged by Spirit to start again and to use my front-facing camera, which is not really recommended. It's a less good quality camera on a phone, but there's something in the message here about facing yourself that's meant to find you. So if that resonates, there might be something in here for you. Welcome. My name is Kelsey. This is Igniting Insight. I offer intuitive messages, tarot readings, soul clearings, and just general vibes. I'm definitely in my coming back into consistency era and excited to be delivering a message on September 9th, 2025. Feels like the start of a new cycle for me. It is the ending of an old cycle with the 999 completion energy. People are calling this a portal, which just means it's an opportunity to step over a threshold within yourself, to let go of something, to move on from something, to cultivate into something, to set a new intention. You can really work with the energy of the 999 day however you want, and part of how you might want to work with it is receiving this message. So hopefully there's something in here for you. This is a general reading, so keep that in mind. Not everything might resonate, but you can take it as it fits, and it will be general, so apply it to your situation as makes sense. Okay, I'm hearing the song, waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change, waiting on the world to change, waiting on the world to change. There's some sort of disappointment, I think, that you are ready to move on from. Might have to do with friendships or community for some of you. There's been a period of, I feel like, biting your tongue and holding in your message. The Page of Swords is about delivering a message. It's very kind of, pages are very like, I think of them as kind of childlike, innocent energy, the beginning of something, and the Hanged Man is a pause, and the Seven of Wands is kind of like defending your position. So I feel like you've been in a pause with your message, kind of maybe because you've had to defend your position, or because of some lack of physical security, but you're leaving this behind. Like, you're leaving behind this lack of security, and you're stepping into a passionate future where you're really tapped into your creative potential, your creative flow. You're able to move through the world with balanced. You're choosing your battles. The Chariot in reverse for me is giving I'm giving it's not quite time to set foot on this new journey. The spark, the direction comes from when you clarify I feel like I'm too sick to deliver this message. I put on a whole face of makeup and everything, bro. And I've just been ill, and I feel like I didn't realize that that was going to affect me so much trying to do a reading. But it is. But sometimes we have to struggle through. That's kind of what it's not about waiting. Like, I don't really, like, the Queen of Wands is not giving waiting. But the Chariot in reverse is giving, like, slowed progress, delays. I feel like you've been focusing too much maybe on the vehicle or the path ahead of you, rather than the spark within you. So it's like when you think about taking action towards your goal, your dreams, your creative projects, whatever it is that inspires you, that you want to be doing, that you're not currently doing to the extent that you would like to. Maybe it's doing something on social media. Maybe it's making music, making art, photography, rock climbing, doing more hiking, group camp, like whatever inspires you. There's always a reason that you're inspired by that. There's growth potential in that experience available to you when you move towards it. But I think sometimes whoever this message is for, there's a really big learning here around not getting stuck in the vehicle, the method, the modality, but keep refocusing on the inspiration itself. What motivated you in the first place to be interested in this thing, to be going after this creative project or goal? Refocus on that, and that is what's going to actually create your momentum and move you forward. If you're focused too much on the vehicle, it's like you leave the spark outside of the picture, and then you don't have anything to fuel you forward. Does that make sense? I feel like I think this is mastering your mindset, mastering your... It's not that you're not going to experience fear, worries, and anxieties, but you understand that they are not the truth always, and that you can lean into your kind of self-mastery, like your self-knowledge, what you understand about yourself through your life experience. What I'm getting with these moons, this moon cycle, this is like different phases of your growth, different phases of your life, think about these as like different, like this is like your child, like your early child, this is like you as a baby, toddler, like early childhood, teenager, young adult, like, you know, and like each of these is like a part that lives within you. And sometimes when we have experienced trauma, we can go back into these parts, and there may be like wounds or emotions that need to be integrated, felt, expressed, understood. So we need to be aware of these parts and be able to utilize the wisdom that we gained through those phases of our life. And when those parts come up, you know, we don't let them make us believe that we haven't already cultivated all of this. It's like if we have an emotional flashback, I'm speaking to, you know, I'm definitely speaking to people who relate to the experience of trauma, and I feel like that's going to be most of my people, because that's my life experience. When we have like an emotional flashback from, say, our teenage self, and we remember like what felt super challenging then and our insecurities then, sometimes we can bring those back into the present and think that those things are still stopping us, and we forget that we've actually done so much to work through those, to build skills, to move past those things. It's like those parts are still going to live within us, but they don't get to run the show. We got 2 aces coming out next. There could be a new what I'm getting with this is it's not quite ready to be birthed here in the physical yet, but there could be a new emotional beginning. This could be in a relationship. This could be just how you're viewing yourself. I do feel like it's always more about your relationship with yourself. All relationships start with our relationship with ourselves. We do have the Lover's card, so choices and relationships as well. Collaboration. Let me get one more to tie this all together, what we're supposed to know from this. I said one more, but I got 2. Judgment, I got 3. Judgment reversed, 4 of Swords, the Fool in reverse. I think some of you out there are feeling, there's kind of this, I think the eclipse brings up this feeling of restlessness. And there is a real focus on rest at this time. As much as there is also a focus on cultivating and remembering and recalling and living from that creative spark, we don't necessarily need to push forward right now. Sometimes the leap of faith that we need to take comes from the inside. Sometimes it's not about making some drastic change in your outer reality, but rather internally deciding that you are no longer going to be who you've been, and that you are going to take a figurative leap of faith into a new version of yourself, just through how you choose to embody and walk through your day-to-day life. There's some sort of this is a card that has been calling to me to deepen into, and yesterday I channeled something that encouraged me to start reading about this card, and even so, I'm like staring at it in reverse with like a blank slate. And I think that's actually the message here. Once we've like come to terms with ourselves, judgment is about like when we take stock of our life, what do we, like, how do we liberate ourselves from our own shadows while realizing that we will never be perfect as human beings, and that the life experience of being human is never about perfection, and it is about being messy. I think those past versions of yourself that may have been messy have been integrated, but there may still be some insights to gain. And it's going to come through you truly moving in the direction of your vision and out of this energy of self-protection. But there's something here about like, somebody needs to hear this, like, and I'm trying my best to channel it in a way that's gonna make sense and support you. But it's like this feeling of, we think it's black and white. Okay, this is so funny. Okay, this was the deck I was going to use before, and I think literally it's just something about the backs that was the message. There's kind of this black and white energy. There's this like, this is like black, like it, you know, it's like giving eclipse. And then there's like these little squares that are black and white, and then like there's almost like a little yin yang symbol here, kind of, maybe. I'm not really sure, but for some reason, I just see the black-white here. Black and white thinking, when we apply it to like the trajectory of our lives, then it can feel like we have to somehow we have to like completely exile our past in order to be able to step on the path to the future vision that we imagine for ourselves, that we desire for ourselves. But it's actually always going to be both and. It's always going to be a continuum. You're always going to have those parts of yourself within that are going to remind you of your pains. There's always going to be stuff to work through. There's always going to be new beginnings. There's going to be completions and new beginnings. And so I feel like this whole message is really about getting you to understand that your focus, like the thing that's going to move you forward, the thing that's going to create the breakthrough that maybe you've been looking for a while, is focusing on the creative spark within you, focusing on what inspires you, and moving from that place. And as much as you can, putting blinders on about everything else, staying in your lane, not thinking 10 steps ahead of you, or thinking about, the different pathways and vehicles. Just think about the next step that you're inspired to take, and then take that step, and then go back to that spark of inspiration, and what is the next step that I want to take, and then the next step that I want to take. And I feel like this message is quite simple. It's a little bit long, not too long, but I definitely feel like this resonates for me as well. And so I hope that this supports you. Please let me know by leaving a comment if it does. Follow along for more, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye.